92.2 Auckland.
You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, the Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen has just kicked off in the last 24 hours. And to talk with us about the goings-on there in Copenhagen, what can we expect over the next few days, and what is the buzz there at the moment, Daniel Nielsen, our correspondent from the Copenhagen Post, joining us from the media centre there via Skype. Hello to you, Daniel.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, are you basically in the media centre, the hub, the centre of the action there?
Well, actually, I've left the media centre to go and find Skype, and I'm now in one of these small pods that they've set up for people to use with webcams and Messenger and all sorts of things. It's very high tech around here, but for some reason the media centre doesn't have Skype.
Is it anything like you've ever seen before?
No, this is incredible. I've never actually really been to a proper conference and covered it. And here there's the capacity is 15,000 people in the centre. There's 3,500 journalists alone, and apparently 34,000 people have actually requested access to the building. So there's long queues when you get here outside. And
I would imagine security would be pretty tight as well.
Oh yeah, it's more than half of the nation's police forces here. There's 6,500 police officers, and still they're worried that the police officers are going to be working overtime, 16-hour shifts for 2 weeks straight, and that sort of thing. I mean, that's the police unions talking, so you probably have to take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, certainly tight security. In fact, on Sunday, the day before the conference really started off, I came out here and everything was shut down and evacuated because there was a bomb scare. Somebody had left a suitcase behind, and they had to call out the bomb squad and sort that out.
And I'd imagine you'd expect that to happen quite a few times.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to evacuate every time someone leaves a bag behind, I think now that they've got the entrance security is more sorted out. Every bag is scanned. They've got something like 30 scanners out there. They've got UN police plus the Danish police. It's all very organised. There's transport arranged just for the conference. There are buses that are running to and from hotels to the conference venue. There really have been sort of no problems with organisation around the city and the streets yet, but it'll probably come next week when all the heads of state and government start arriving.
Yeah. So what's happening at this end of the conference?
At this end of the conference, well, we had the opening ceremony today, where the Danish Prime Minister spoke. The UNFCCC Executive Secretary Ivo de Boer, he's basically the UN's top climate civil servant. There was also Connie Hedegaard, try and pronounce that, Wammo. She's the former Danish energy minister. She's now the COP15 president, as they call her. And she had some pretty strong words at the opening ceremony. She's saying we need to mark this historic occasion, and she specifically looked at the question of financing emission reduction targets, and had a pointed reference to the wealthier countries actually helping out developing countries financially. She also totally rejected the notion that economies are going to suffer in this fight against climate change. She's insisting that a global climate change agreement will actually create more jobs and increase competition, especially, and this is obvious, in the renewable energy sector.
Right. On this side of the world, we've noticed over the past couple of weeks a change in the winds, if you will, for this conference. At first, people were just thinking it was going to be a talk fest. Not much was going to be decided. Now suddenly Obama's going, even our own Prime Minister, who said that it was a bit more of a photo opportunity than anything else, so he wasn't going to go, but now he is also going. So is there a feeling there on the ground, though, that something is going to be worked out?
Well, I think so, but the big problem, and this has been discussed a lot in the last few weeks, is that the Danish Prime Minister downgraded the expectations of the conference so that there will be a politically binding agreement rather than a legally binding agreement. That basically means that countries don't actually have to abide by anything. It means that they won't get punished if they don't abide by certain targets, stuff like that. But just on the point of John Key, I realised that he didn't decide that he was going to turn up until very late, and until after Obama had decided that he would be here.
Yes.
I went to check out where the New Zealand delegation office is, and it's pretty much in the furthest away corner that you can imagine of the building, and it's a small, pokey little office. And I don't know whether New Zealand would have got a bigger office if we decided to come earlier, but it's kind of amusing.
So that's where John Key will potentially just be hanging out sometimes, in a small pokey office, a wardrobe, a cupboard, if you will.
Well, I reckon he'll come and see the office, and then he'll go straight back to the hotel.
where there's a shower, because I know he likes showers.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, well, apparently so. Every time he's on overseas trip, the showers are very important. As they are for most people.
I would have picked him to be a bath man, actually.
Yeah, true that. What about protests? Has anyone started protesting? Are there groups outside the buildings? What's going on with that kind of action?
There's a lot of demonstrations, but it's more in the form of artistic installations and exhibitions. Somebody went and drowned 10 children in one of the city lakes. Not real children, but sculptures of children. Obviously a protest against it's the children that are going to be affected by climate change and possibly rising sea levels. And there's a lot of that sort of thing going on. There's an alternative climate change conference going on as well. One of the more interesting protests, and this is a bit of a side issue, doesn't really have anything to do with climate change, but the Copenhagen City Council was concerned that there would be a surge in prostitution during the climate summit, as there often is when you have these global summits. And prostitution has been liberalised, decriminalised here in this country for a long time. It's very kind of similar to in Holland and Amsterdam. Yep. Not that they stand around in windows posing, but there is a pretty thriving red light district in Copenhagen. So the city council has started a campaign which says be climate conscious, don't do prostitution, something along those lines. And they sent they've created these postcards, sent them out around the city, contacted loads of hotels, urging them not to arrange prostitutes for COP15 delegates. Now the prostitutes have responded to this. There's a sex workers union, and they have offered free sex to anyone who turns up with one of these postcards and a COP15 ID badge.
Wow, there you go. I wonder if any of the New Zealand delegation will be taking up that offer. Daniel, what are we expecting in the next 24 hours there now that we'll be heading into day 2?
More meetings, more presentations, more exhibitions. The protest won't be happening yet. That's going to happen once the states of heads arrive. I think there's 110 heads of state coming, including Obama, who's we just talked about him before, and I forgot to mention that he's actually rescheduled his visit. He was going to be here in 2 days' time, kind of en route to picking up his Nobel Peace Prize, as you do. But he's now rescheduled, and he'll be here on the 17th and the 18th of December, and in the concluding days of the conference, where the deal, if it gets signed, will be signed.
Daniel Nielsen, I hope to catch up with you soon once again at the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference. Thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Wammo.
Time now is 7:31.